Despite seeing OSP as one of the blue chip stock in Thailand, the market may still have some doubt over its stock. Some may think that it's just another lucky first mover. Some may think that its top line has limited potential, and some may even think that it's a stock that earnings has been through its glorious day. Today, as a financial analyst, we are telling you that it's the opposite, and that you should buy the stock while it is still undervalued. Today, we are telling you that OSP is a stock with an unbeatable strength in branding and distribution. We are telling you that its top line will grow from Myanmar and CIVIT, and we are telling you that profit margin is expanding from vertical integration. A very good morning. Today we initiate a buy recommendation on OSP stock based on DCF valuation target price of 39.72 baht, indicating an 18.6% upside. Before we go any further, let's get to know the company a little better. OSP started off as a small pharmaceutical retailer and later expanded into the energy drink businesses. In these markets, the company ascended to the #1 position in Thailand and Myanmar. This results in 70% of the revenue being generated from energy drinks. The leadership in Thailand and Myanmar energy drink market brings in consistent 18 billion baht every year. Now, after winning in the energy drinks, the company further expanded to personal care and functional drinks. In these markets, the company also secured the #1 position. This results in 30% of the revenue being generated from personal care and functional drinks. In functional drinks, CIVIT, the vitamin C shot, has recently emerged as the main revenue driver. OSP aspires to be more than just a Thai company. In fact, they want to be a listed company that operates above Thai standards. This is why they implemented internal overhaul back in 2016 and equipped the company with management from global FMCGs. The immediate result that we saw was an uplift in ESG standards. OSP ESG standards ranks almost on par with the global peers, while performing significantly superior to the domestic peers. So far, this is what the market knows, and there may still be some doubts. From now on, we'll give you clarification so that you can buy the stock with confidence.
Today, we tell you that you should buy OSP, and that you're looking at a business that has unbreakable strength from branding and distribution, that is a business with top-line growth potential from Myanmar and CIVIT, and that is the business that the bottom line will still expand from vertical integration. Let's start with the first one, the unbreakable strength. For in the past few years, the market has shown some maturity in growth. The silver lining for OSP is the ability to maintain its market share at 50%. The doubt here is that will OSP continue as a market leader? And our answer today is yes, it will still be the market leader, and that is because of unbreakable strength. The first strength is the branding. It's the multi-brand strategy. It allows OSP to fight with its competitors, having not only the flagship M150, but also a wide selection of well-established brands that make it harder to compete. The second strength is the distribution capability. On the surface level, OSP possesses twice the number of CPG point of sale. We did our analysis deeper, and we found out that this number is actually an impossible number for CPG to achieve within a short period of time. And the reason for that is that the coverage extends throughout Thailand to areas that require investment and time commitment. And all of this, the unbreakable strength has been displayed as the ability to maintain the market share moving forward, allowing OSP to enjoy the growth the same as the market.
In addition to unbreakable strength, OSP growth capability come from Myanmar and CIVIT. First is a strong presence in Myanmar energy drink market, which contribute 12% to total revenue. The market has a robust growth of over 20% CAGR for the last decade. The region might concern and the condition, but we still believe that the country has a bright future ahead. From our own analysis on military coup around the world, revealed that household expenditure recovered in long term as people need to spend for necessities. We use the criteria on international sanctions, casualty, and year in power. We believe that Myanmar's situation is similar to our observation and would follow the same trend of the growth. Second is vitamin C shot under CIVIT brand. Our global observation revealed that the global trend is replacing juice with healthier beverages. Thailand is expected to follow the same trend, and vitamin C shot will get the main benefits. As we can see here that vitamin C shot has a double-digit year-on-year growth for the last 5 years, comparing to small growth or decline in other categories. We expect CVIT to continue leading the market as a first mover in 2012, and the recent year fierce competition from at least 8 competitors. CVIT still hold the largest market share of 31% despite selling at a higher price. These demonstrate our capability in branding and as well as customer insight. Moreover, there is an opportunity in traditional trade sales. Currently, CVIT sold 80% in modern trade, while M150 and other FMCG mainly use traditional trade channel. We believe that OSP could leverage its distribution coverage and expand CVIT into these untapped opportunities. As a result, the top line will grow 6.2% CAGR or an uplift of 3.3% from a strong domestic industry.
The last step is on the bottom line. And we argue today that the bottom line will expand, and that it will expand from vertical integration. Since the IPO, OSP has been focused in trying to save costs. In fact, the name changes from Fit at First to Fit Fast Firm to Fast Over 10X for the next 5 to 7 years. And although the company did not disclose exactly in specific details on how they save costs, we went above and beyond and tried to find how these cost initiatives perform. And the result is a highlight into 2 points. The first is that we see that outcome always beat management guidance and surprise us every analyst meeting. And the second is that most of the cost saves are to maintain margin, meaning it prevents the firm from paying out too much cost. And looking into the future, we see that the beat the goal outcome will continue as we foresee a 9% surplus from the management guidance by assuming with feasible with conservative actions required for OSP to fulfill. And what's even better now is that most of the cost save will come from vertical integration, which aims to improve margin, which will impact benefit to the bottom line. And all of this will result in an uplift of EBIT CAGR from 2% of do-nothing case to 10% with feasible cost-saving plans.
So far, OSP has proven an attractive business, but let's see whether its stock is at the right price. But before that, we have to understand the business model of OSP. OSP uses different business models for different products. For example, M150 is solely owned by OSP, but CVIT is a brand under a joint venture business, House Bosses of Half Foods. So we use some of part valuation, dividing OSP into 3 business units: Core, JV House, and JV Taisho. At a glance, our DCF based on the parts valuation suggests a target price of 39.72 Thai baht. We use a 3-stage FCFF model as the main valuation methodology to allow CVIT to reach a mature state in 2029. For the core business, we expect the revenue to be growing at 5% CAGR, driven mainly by the growth in Myanmar energy drink sales and the expansion to traditional trade with CVIT product. For the cost, we expect the cost-saving project to increase the gross margin to 36.1% and EBIT margin to 17.4% in 2026. For JV House or CVIT, we expect the revenue to be growing at 13% CAGR, driven by the selling channel expansion to traditional trade and the growth in vitamin C shop consumption. And for JV Taisho, we expect the revenue to grow at 3% CAGR, driven by the stable market share and marginal growth in the domestic anti-grain market. To confirm our DCF valuation, we benchmark companies' forward PE and PEG ratio with its peers, and both suggest that OSP is still undervalued.
Now, moving on to the risk part. After accessing the downside risk, we would like to mention 2 things. First, how does OSP react to the most severe threats that it could not adjust the sugar content? And second, how the other 2 risks, which are the market growth and the market share, affect our target price? So, for the first question, even though a failure to adjust the sugar content lead to a large impact on the target price, OSP could adjust this by increasing the wholesaling price or increasing the price per volume. Next, we conducted scenario analysis to account for the other 2 risks, which are the market growth and the market share, leading to 38% upside in the best case and 9% downside in the worst case, which is highly unlikely. We therefore confirmed our buy recommendation due to unbreakable strength, top line growth, and profit margin expansion. Thank you for your attention, and now the floor is open for Q&A.
Okay, so just to start Q&A section.
In one of your slides, you said the coup in Myanmar is not a risk. And there is evidence that the coup usually does not affect disposable income. So I have two questions. First is, it's counterintuitive because we see the headline, there are so many people got killed or chased away from the border. So I think it does affect disposable income. So why do you think it's not? From what status you think it's not? Second, do you think it's actually a business risk that it really disrupts the business operation when you are selling things? Think about logistics. Why it's not a risk? And the military government, do you see a risk that they just confiscated the foreign business ownership? Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your question. I think I'll take on the first question. In terms of why we think the coup will not hinder Myanmar growth, well, the answer to that would be we are already seeing the general trend of recovery sign. Back last month, the World Bank has already released their estimate of Myanmar economy. They're already projecting a 1% increase in Myanmar GDP in the year 2022. So by looking at this number, you're already seeing the trend that's following our analysis that most of the countries, no matter how much counterintuitive it is, see a long-term increase in economic activity in the long run. Secondly, OSP 9-month sales as of 2021 grew 21% despite the coup. So we are seeing these numbers as a recovery sign that re-emphasize our analyses that Myanmar energy drink will be okay in the long run.
So allow me to take on the second question. I think it's a very good question that you're concerned on, how it would affect the logistics or business operation as a whole. We see this as actually an opportunity for OSP, and the reason for that is yes, indeed, it affects the logistics, but mostly it affects the business that import and export. For example, CBG that has the business operation in Myanmar, they sell product that is carved out and need to import and export. And with our interview with one of the OSP, they also say that this disrupt the length of time that they need to deliver to or import and export into Myanmar. But what we believe is that for the next year or this year, for example, it announced that it will open the new factory, and this will allow the business operation to be operated inside Myanmar, and therefore did not have to rely on import, export, and all those length in terms of logistics anymore.
You didn't mention anything about raw material price increases. How big risk do you see this for OSP gross profit margin, at least in the near term or in longer term? Because generally for the goods like energy drinks, the packaging is one of the main costs associated.
Yes, I agree with your concern on the packaging cost due to inflation. So we dig down on the depth of the cost structure, and yes, indeed, the packaging or the glass bottle is the main ingredient or the main cost for OSP. But when we dig at the price trend, it's contradict with the inflation rate. So we go to see the supplier of glass cullet in Thailand, and we see that the price of the glass is the same as the last year during September. It's comparing to CBG that using aluminum, that the price has increased around 20% of the raw material. And in terms of other things that impact, mainly is the energy consumed, like the energy used in production, that rise dramatically in recent years. But these numbers is only 1% of total cost of goods sold. Therefore, we do not think that inflation has a heavily impact on OSP.
Allow me to add on to that. So we believe that when we look at the firm and try to find the long-term value, yes, indeed, the commodity will fluctuate throughout the years of projection. But we feel that in order to capture off the long-term value of the firm, we therefore don't really account in of the commodity fluctuation, because in the long term it will be a cycle of the commodity anyway.
So for aluminum in OSP, how much of the packaging is done in aluminum and how much in the glass?
They do not mention the amount that they sold in each container type, but the main strategy that OSP employ in both in Thai market, in Myanmar, and as well as in international export, they mainly export glass container.
So okay, now on the valuation, I know that your subject company is OSP, but if you step out and if you have to choose among the energy drink company in the region, You think OSP is still the number one, and if not, which one would you pick as the number one stock pick?
Okay. Allow me to answer that question first. And maybe in terms of relative valuation, my friends might have something to add on. But at sales price level, I think we need to define the number one first. If you're looking for growth, obviously CPG investing in China that has a huge market, probably 20 times bigger than Thailand would be obviously the obvious answer to that. But we feel that if you're looking for a company that has limited risk because it's a really strong fundamental in domestic market and also a long-term less volatile return, we feel that OSP is the best fit for that.
And as for the number of the multiples, actually OSP trades at a lower multiple than its peer, and it's also confirmed that by the PEG ratio that OSP is also trading at the lower PEG ratio with its peers.
I see one of your investment highlights talking about unbreakable branding, right? How much impact do you think change in terms of the branding landscape? As in the past, the branding we do in the advertising in offline, but today much of the advertising do online. Is that gonna affect the long-term branding advantage of OSP?
Sure. So I'll take on the first one on how the OSP structure that product portfolio that has the strength in it. And maybe Natapong will answer you on the digital branding and whatnot. The first one on how they structure the product portfolio, we believe that having a huge assortment of how it can sell. For example, if you want to sell to women of mass, OSP has the Song In Sam. For example, if you want to sell in the southern area, OSP has Chop. So with that, we want to highlight how these product portfolio fits in with all of the regions across Thailand and all of other demographics. And we believe that is the strength because say if M150 fails by CBG whatsoever conquer the market even better, we still believe that other product portfolio that contributes to 10% of total market share still stand. So that is what we try to say of the strength.
In addition, OSP do not heavily rely on traditional marketing only. They have shown commitment to merge themselves into digital marketing as well. In recent years, they have acquired a digital marketing company which has the capability in doing digital marketing, doing digital campaign, and doing customer insight. And this has shown the strength how value OSP interest in digital marketing and how the landscape of business or marketing has changed.
So they are doing the in-house digital marketing instead of using like ad agency.
They just acquired one last year.
They mentioned that they want to acquire the human resource, the capability in that company, and use this as like to the wide range of product for OSP.
Last 2 minutes.
A bit on the assumption on your valuation. Can you maybe back to that about the terminal growth?
Can you go to
The main deck. You can go to the main deck.
Okay, so we divided OSP into three business units: core business, JV house.
How you come up with the 3.1 and 2.3?
Okay, so for the core business, the revenue of the company comes from both Thai market and international market. So we use our terminal growth rates as the GDP of Thailand, Myanmar, and other international markets, and we weighted average by the weight of each revenue contribution of each country. So we get a number of 3.1%. But for JV House and JV Taicho, they only sell in Thailand, so we use only GDP of Thailand only, which is 2.3%.
30 seconds.
It's the long-term GDP forecast, right?
Yes.
Not
I guess that's it.
Thank you.